That will come to life today when dignitaries come to celebrate the annual Freedom Day celebrations. The Freedom Day celebrations in Makhanda coincide with the commemoration of the 200-year anniversary battle between the Xhosa warriors and the British soldiers. The Xhosa warriors were led by Makhanda, of which the town is named after him. Our reporter Lerato Thipa is in Makhanda. A very good morning to you, Lerato. Won't you set the scene for us this morning and take us through what can be expected today?
A very morning to you, Paul Shongo. I'll just step aside and you'll see just behind me people are beginning to trickle in at the City of Saints, the stadium where the Makhanda celebrations for Freedom Day were taking place. But as I was driving in this morning, I was thinking, what was it like 25 years ago for people, perhaps on this day, they were voting for the first time, especially struggle heroes such as the late President Nelson Mandela, former President Thabo Mbeki. What was it like for them to vote for the first time, perhaps voting for a new dawn, free of colonialism, free of apartheid, free of poverty? And today we celebrate Freedom Day, but people in Makhanda are of a different view, not finding much to celebrate, saying that the bread and butter issues have not been dealt with yet. But throughout the day we're going to be speaking to various dignitaries, people on the ground as well, trying to find out exactly years after democracy, years after people paid a high price for the freedom that did not come free, are we really enjoying freedom? But joining me this morning is the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Mr. Phumla Moswale. Maybe let's start with that, Dada. I won't reveal your age, but I will ask you, 25 years ago, were you standing in line? Were you preparing to vote? And what was it like at that time? And what expectations did you have of the government of the day?
Well, certainly I was on the vote. I did vote in 1994. It was really, for me, a life-changing experience because it was for the first time that I voted in a democratic South Africa. Unfortunately, in the previous establishments that were there, voting really was not that much encouraged, and we were busy protesting. So yes, it was a life-changing experience. Certainly we were looking forward to a lot of changes that we anticipated were to happen in respect to various aspects of life. Indeed, I can say, looking back, the 25 years we have had since that time, significant changes have happened in our country. There continues to be a radical shift that is unfolding if you compare to the experience that we had before then. But of course there are still difficulties, challenges, obstacles to be overcome. But it's in the nature of development that you make progress and new challenges still present themselves.
When we speak of challenges, Premier, you were here a week ago and the local government ingested 22 million rand to deal with the huge water crisis in the area. But the fundamental problem of the water crisis is aging infrastructure, is also maladministration. So it's a good thing to deal with the water crisis, but when you deal of poor governance, when you deal of old infrastructure, is there a plan to deal with the core root issues facing the city?
Well, certainly, I was here correctly. We are dealing with both aspects, investment in infrastructure, critical infrastructure, but also attending to the aging infrastructure that was laid out a long time, not anticipating the kinds of people we have now that depend on those. Yes, it is also a truth that we also have to simultaneously deal with challenges to do with capacity, the ability institutionally to be able to really render similar services to our people. It's a combination of things, skills, the inadequacy of skills, but also poor management as well as absence of proper leadership to deal with these matters. And in that respect, we are working on those. The local authority has experienced some changes in terms of leadership so as to ensure that there is adequacy in respect of leadership. We have ensured that they are employed people of the right skills that are populating the leadership echelons of this administration. And I'm looking forward to a change in the situation here. It is certainly work in progress.
Premier, there's also an issue of electricity where there is historical debt that's amount of 85 million rand. That also speaks to holding leaders accountable if you're going to speak of freedom, because if they're not held accountable to affect service delivery and then freedom is hindered as well. Is there a plan to hold those in office accountable so that there isn't a backlog? Because ESCOM is saying they're going to have 14-hour cuts, which will really affect the business sector of the city.
Certainly, the issue of accountability is critical on those who are holding the reins of leadership administratively and politically, and consequences ought to accompany such. In this instance, we're dealing with inability to meet the queues towards ESCOM, whilst ESCOM is another entity that needs the resources to be able to sustain its work in terms of providing the country with the much needed electricity. In that respect, we are in dialogue with both the municipality as well as ESCOM, and where they were really advanced in effecting cuts, that was held back to allow for discussions, and we are confident that there will be payment arrangements that will be sustainable, that will be entered into between the two institutions.
Well, there was a Premier of the Eastern Cape, Phumo Swale, saying that key to freedom is holding those that are in power accountable so that the basic service deliveries of people in the city are met. Let's go to a break and join us afterwards for freedom celebrations in the beautiful city of Makhanda.